What is up guys, Jarv here, back today jumping into Destiny. In today's video we're taking a look at one of the best farms for Season of the Wish. If you want to get your hands on Ascendant Alloys, Ascendant Shards, a mass amount of loot, not just from Season of the Wish, but also the Dreaming City, but also how you can gain access to the illustrious and lucrative Chamber of Wishes, then be sure to stick around and enjoy the video. If you do enjoy the video, be sure to leave a comment and rating down below, and remember to subscribe for more Destiny 2 content. But without further delay guys, let's jump into the video. Now each and every season we get a range of brand new activities. The same can be said for Season of the Wish, where we see the introduction of Riven's Lair and also the Coil as featured activities for the season. Now as with each and every season, it's about the best and most efficient way to farm all the brand new loot. And it's with that in mind we show you the best way to do it and also how to access the Chamber of Wishes. Now as we said, one of the featured activities for the season is called the Coil, and this allows you to complete 4 pathways inside Riven's Lair. This has a very unique set of rules applied to it, and is one of the only activities in Destiny that has an escalating difficulty level. This is where the player's power levels are all fixed. The change in difficulty will be at 0 for the first pathway, and for each pathway that you complete, this will increase the combatant's power level over the player's power level by 5 for each run. Now, as we mentioned, there are 4 pathways in total, so the escalating difficulty can become very challenging, especially on later tiers. Now throughout these runs you will be looking for Wishing Glass. Now this is an inactivity currency, and these drop from combatants, glass collectors, and even pots throughout the activity. Now the Wishing Glass comes in multiple rarities too, and depending on the rarities these will have a different value. Now at the end of each pathway, each member of the fire team will receive a huge bonus of fused Wishing Glass, and this will be equal to the number of total shards collected as a fire team in the previously completed path. Now collecting Wishing Glass will be key to success in this activity, as these will allow you to enable Dragon's Gifts. These are a set of buffs that the player can apply between pathways, and these can be purchased from Riven via the Wishing Glass between pathways. Now the buffs that you see here are separated into 3 tiers, and these naturally vary on cost. Now whilst we can't see them all here, there are in fact 26 different buffs that you can apply through the Dragon's Gifts. And these can range from grenade accelerants that increase your grenade ability recharge rate by over 500%, power weapon enhancement where weapons in the power slot have their damage increased by 20%, and even super accelerant that improves your super ability recharge rate by 200%. Naturally those particular Dragon's Gifts cost 400 Wishing Glass each, but one that is very affordable and one I highly recommend trying to pick up as many as you possibly can between runs is the Revive token. This will add 1 additional Revive token to your fire team's pool, and this costs just 100 Wishing Glass. Now the reason that revives are important is that you have limited revives as a fire team. This will determine how far you can go in the core activity, and ultimately how much loot you'll be able to earn throughout your run or even upon completion. Now after each pathway you will be returned to Riven, where you can collect some rewards, and for each additional pathway that you complete, the rewards will improve each and every time. If you are able to break through score thresholds, you get to unlock secret chests throughout the Coil. Now you'll find most of these secret chests either in the encounters which have traps set to them. These have very minimal combatants, and your main enemy is the encounter space itself, or where you're activating plates whilst also cleansing yourself from pervading darkness. And once you've located these chests, they'll be surrounded by pots, but it's important to remember there are 2 chests. One is genuine and one has a trap underneath. These are fairly easy to identify by the spike holes that you'll find at the very bottom. Now, as well as collecting Wishing Glass, activating Dragon's Gifts, and also earning rewards from chests, you'll also be able to pick up Lair keys by completing pathways of the Coil. As well as the Coil, these can be earned by completing activities throughout the system. This includes ritual playlists and any activities in the Dreaming City, which are the best sources for these keys. Now, these keys allow you to open Lair chests. These contain seasonal gear that can be found at the end of Riven's Lair or throughout the Coil, and these Lair keys are important as they improve the rewards that you get from all these chests. And much like in previous seasons, these are automatically redeemed when you open a Lair chest, improving the rewards, and this includes the chests found after clearing pathways in the Lair and the Coil activity. And to get the most from the Coil, as well as achieving score thresholds to unlock the secret chests, if you can finish the Coil with a platinum score, This will reward players with access to the lustrous and lucrative Chamber of Wishes. You may remember this room from the Aegis Scepter exotic quest, but this is now a full-on treasure room. This will spawn up to 5 additional Lair chests, as well as 2 guaranteed chests with either weapon or armor inside. And to get the platinum score, you will need to complete all 4 pathways inside the coil, and we achieved a score of 140,000 as a fire team. Now, as well as getting seasonal rewards from these chests, you can also get Ascendant Alloys, Ascendant Shards, and even Deep Sight Resonance weapons. Naturally, to complete a full run of the coil will require a fair amount of time investment, but the rewards are certainly worth it. You earn plenty of rewards throughout your pathway runs, between runs, and even upon activity completion. So that's a detailed look at the coil and how you can get the most loot from it. Now we're going to take a look at some hints and tips and the best strategy to make the coil as easy and efficient as possible. Now you can start up the coil either as a match-made fire team or even in a private session. Now the private session option will mean you won't have to run with randoms, but to make up for the potentially smaller fire teams if you can't get a full fire team of 3, then the game will adjust the amount of combatants based on the number of members in the fire team. It won't necessarily make the combatants easier to face, but it will definitely adjust the amount to make the encounters still achievable. Now during your first pathway, your score will be relatively low, so most of the secret chests may not be obtainable. But with that being said, it is still well worth taking out as many combatants as possible, as these can still drop wishing glass, and also discover as many pots and destroy them to maximize your currency between pathways. Now the combatants in your first playthrough shouldn't be too difficult. The main focus here is to not lose any of your revives. These carry over throughout all your pathway runs, and you definitely want to maximize these the best you possibly can. Now the dragon's gifts that I found most useful were things like Super Accelerant, which increases your super ability regeneration by 200%. And depending on your subclass, you can have an elemental bonus, which will improve your damage on all weapons and abilities from that particular element. So for example, if you're running a solar subclass, you can need Solar Enhancement will improve your damage output by 10% on all your abilities and weapons. And if you're running a weapon like Dragon's Breath, which I also highly recommend, it will massively help you when it comes to clearing huge groups of combatants and even help pin down the bosses and continue to do damage over time. Naturally, solar subclasses are very strong. Burning Maul was absolutely top tier when it comes to taking out the bosses, and if you have a warlock running Osmiomancy, you can have stasis turrets up pretty much all the time. These help pin down all your targets, and the Shadebinder super itself is absolutely top tier when it comes to taking out wyverns. And finally, if you don't have some already, I do recommend trying to chase down some Transcendent Blessing mods. You can pick these up by completing Purification Ritual bounties over in the Dreaming City. We made a video covering all of those last season and why you should get them for this season, and it is well worth applying some of these to your armor to help further improve all your damage output. If you haven't checked out that video already, make sure to do so, and I'll leave the link to that down in the video description below. So there we have it, guys, a good look at the coil and the best way to farm it to get your hands on some of the season's best loot. If you've enjoyed this video, be sure to check out one of the 2 videos you see here in these cards for more Destiny 2 content. If you want to keep up to date with everything to do with Destiny 2, then be sure to hit subscribe as well. I'm going to be to the game as always, guys, and I will catch you all again very soon.